Hey, so Patrick Stewart explains why it's imperative that Star Trek address current events and modern politics. This is coming from Bounding into Comics. This is from an interview that Patrick Stewart had with Will Wheaton. It's got some interesting points to it. Picard has been brought back as a character in the new series. There's a lot of controversy going on about this series and about the whole series and Star Trek going woke. Let's get into the article, but before we get into the article, if you want to support me, check out College of the Dead Graduation Day. It's a 48-page full-color zombie apocalypse comics. Really good. It's ready to ship right now. The link is in the description, collegeofthedead.com. And sign up for my new upcoming series, The Mermaids. It's Game of Thrones with mermaids. Beautiful artwork, really well-written story. I know you're going to like it. Now let's get back to the article. So, again, this is from Bounding into Comics. Pretty cool site. Actor Patrick Stewart recently discussed Star Trek Picard on a recent episode of The Ready Room with Will Wheaton and explained why he believes it's necessary for Star Trek to address current events and modern politics. Will Wheaton was in the original version, by the way, of The Next Generation. That's how these two met. Will Wheaton was a kid back in the day. And Jean-Luc Picard, Patrick Stewart, was an old man back then. He's still an old man. He's a little bit older now. But Will Wheaton's got an interesting podcast, and there you go. So he's interviewing him. The interview was wide-ranging and also touched on aspects of the storytelling, some of which, in Stewart's view, were very profound and powerful, as well as Star Trek's optimism in regards to the future. Star Trek has always had optimism in regards to the future. That's true. This is from Absolute Candor, episode 104. Okay, fantastic. So I'm going to give you a link to this article so you can kind of listen to this for yourself if you like. At around the 13 minutes and 30 seconds mark, Wheaton guides the interview to current events and discusses Stewart's comments from February where the actor stated that the world needed Star Trek. That was my impression of Captain Picard. Wheaton asked Stewart if he still believes the world needs Star Trek. Well, that's a very easy question. He then followed up that by asking, what is Star Trek's place in the world at this moment? It's actually a decent question. Stewart responded, I always believed that it was easier to bring this into the work back in the time of Next Generation. That what Next Generation was offering was hope. Hope, I tell you. There will be a future and it will be better. There are 4 lights. This is that still, I think, the Star Trek world. There is that still, I think, the Star Trek world. It's not just me. That actually doesn't make sense. I had to say it twice. He continued, I gotta do the voice again? All right. But what we're having to do now is to reflect gently, subtly, not with a sledgehammer, the world that we presently are living in. Star Trek always did that, particularly in the last 4 or 5 seasons in the Next Generation. We did that. There's more. With metaphor, we can compare the world of Star Trek to the present-day world. And we need to be doing that in this world because we are in some trouble. The world's always in trouble. What do you want, Patrick Stewart? It's like not going great 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Anyway, back to Patrick Stewart. And it is the only people who can get us out of this trouble, Stewart stated. Oh my God, again. He then told Wheaton, I have little confidence in our politicians. I am talking about the UK as well as the USA. It is people who are going to improve how we live, where we work, how we live, where we live, and the safety in which we live. We've seen that recently with controversy over police violence and so forth. But it's harder in Star Trek Picard because our world is much more uncomfortable than it was at the time of Next Generation. For him, maybe. Starfleet and the Federation, one could rely on 100%. They were there.
They were rock solid, he continued.
Stewart then noted,
Not so solid now, it would seem. There have been shifts in all of that, as there have been shifts in our lives.
I hope you're enjoying this. This is very quite difficult.
I hope we can find ways that are not too heavy-handed, whereby we can underline the fact that it is people themselves who can make the difference, Stewart concluded.
Thank God. Stewart concluded the interview answering a question on if he could provide any information regarding Season 2 of Star Trek Picard. He stated,
Well, I'm in it.
Well, how hopeful is that, Patrick? He then elaborated,
I had some encouraging news only yesterday about when we might be looking at starting again. You know, it's all these predictions that are dependent on the best possible circumstance.
Stewart did indicate that CBS was fully behind a second season.
I can tell you that CBS is utterly committed to another season of our show. Utterly committed. That's going to happen.
He concluded,
Other than that, I'm not being productive. Oh, excuse me. I meant to say provocative. But I don't actually have much to tell you.
What do you think of these comments about the franchise, the article asks, and their hopes to subtly point to present issues in society overall? You know, the way I take it is, look, it's true. Star Trek did deal with social issues, and, you know, if it's well written, there's nothing wrong with dealing with social issues. Star Trek also had a way of kind of like, if there was something that was obviously black and white and evil, yes, they would point it out. But there would be some things that were like misunderstandings and things like that. They handled cultural issues really well, and they did move conversations forward. But the writing was good. You know, I liked the original Star Trek. Next Generation, you know, I kind of enjoyed it. I really wasn't enlightened, I don't think, spiritually by much of the Next Generation. Hopefully they do a good job on it. I think you'll want to check out this interview. Compare it to my impression of Patrick Stewart. I think you're going to find that my impression was phenomenal. If you want to hear more impressions like that, subscribe to this channel, click the bell for notifications, give me comments below, and if you think I should be doing impressions or not, professionally or, you know, for Patrick Stewart. Also, check out College of the Dead at collegeofthedead.com. Check out the Mermaids comic at epicmermaids.com. Links are in the description. And I will see you again soon with another video.
And if I don't see you, I will miss you.